Hello, and welcome to the Business Case for Critical Thinking, the June Pop-Up Executive Forum. I am Dr. Tanya Lowe, and I am your host today. And I am excited because this is a topic that my team and I are very passionate about as experts in upskilling and reskilling employees. So who am I? I am your host. I am Dr. Tanya Lowe, national and international speaker, trainer, consultant, three-time author. We have experience working in a variety of sectors, as you see on the slide. And our motto is, we develop your best kept secret, your human capital. So I'm going to jump right in if you'll allow me. But before I jump in, let me say if you have questions or you have comments, please make them in the comment section. And if we miss it during this webinar or during today's forum, then we'll be sure to answer it right after. So I want to talk about our evolving business landscape. In January, our forum in January, we talked about the future of work and how work continues to change right before our eyes. And we're looking at things like technological advances, automation, AI. You can't have a conversation without AI, digital transformation, and critical thinking skills. Critical thinking, which involves the ability to analyze information, solve problems, and make informed decisions, is increasingly recognized as a crucial competency in the world of work as it continues to evolve. And I want you to think for a second, do you have people on your team that you wish would just think through things a little bit better? If they would bring more ideas than problems. Well, that's critical thinking. And we're going to have to help folks develop in that area. As industries become more reliant on data and technology, the ability to think critically and more adept to new tools and methodologies is essential for maintaining a competitive edge. And then also, as we think about the global marketplace, there's a demand that employees not only keep up with technological changes, but also continuously improve their skills to remain relevant. I want to share a report with you. If you're not familiar with the World Economic Forum, and we'll make sure that you have links to those reports, they've been putting out reports about the changes in work and the different areas that organizations need to be aware of since 2020. The original report said that you needed to focus on upskilling and reskilling your employees by 2025. It is now 2024. We're 6 months, can you believe it? 6 months away from, 7 months, 6 months, somewhere around there, but we're close to 2025. And so now some of the most recent reports are saying 2027. Either way, there are significant skill gaps. The WEF and the International Labor Organization have identified significant skill gaps when it comes to today's employees, particularly in the area of guess what? Digital literacy, problem solving, and underscoring the urgency of targeted upskilling and reskilling initiatives. So here we are. We have to think about what is it going to take to get our organization on task? How do we foster a culture of lifelong learning so that it benefits the organization as well as the employees? You see, in essence, upskilling and reskilling with a focus on critical thinking are not just about meeting the immediate tech challenges. I mean, the tech challenges, tech demands, they're going to always be there. They're also about preparing the workforce to thrive in an unpredictable and dynamic future. When we think about how this enables businesses to innovate, remain agile, and capitalize on new opportunities, it also helps to drive long-term growth and sustainability. So as you think about succession planning, as you think about the different people on your team, as you think about the people in your organization, I want you to think about how many of these people need upskilling when it comes to the skill set that they have. How many of them need reskilling? Are they prepared to train and develop the employees of the future? Only you can answer that question. So I want to go ahead and just, that kind of lays the groundwork for what we're going to talk about today. So let's look at the importance of critical thinking skills in today's rapidly changing environment. Like I said, the importance of critical thinking skills cannot be overstated. We have a workforce with 5 to 7 generations in a particular workforce, all bringing a variety of skill sets. But when it comes to critical thinking, I really want you to think about, are we getting the best out of the people that we've hired and that are on our teams? If you're in the field of healthcare, of course, you have people who may be clinically strong, but can they make the best decisions at the best times? If you're in finances, how important is it for people to make very good decisions and have a process for making decisions? If you think about your role in the workforce, if you've been in the workforce for quite some time, sometimes we make decisions based on our experience, based on what we've seen in the past. And so it's making decisions is second nature to us. But when we think about applying a process to it, and we can actually back our decision up with how we came up with that, that's critical thinking. That's breaking it down. Can your employees of today do that? Critical thinking involves the capacity to analyze complex information, solve problems, and make informed decisions, dare I say, without bias. And these skills are essential for navigating businesses today. So we really can't afford to operate in ambiguity in this rapidly changing environment. So I mentioned the World Economic Forum earlier, and I want to come back to something. In their Future of Jobs report, critical thinking is consistently highlighted as one of the top skills needed for the future of work. And like I said earlier, the report projects that by 2025, over half of all employees will require significant reskilling and upskilling with critical thinking and problem solving skills at the forefront. Again, I want you to think about your workforce. Think about the people that are on your teams and think about how many people do I have on my team that I can trust to make decisions that are adept at problem solving. Only you can answer that. So let's look at a few trends. As we look at some of the trends, these are some of the top trends that have come from the World of Work report and the World Economic Forum report. And again, if you've not read them, we'll try to put the links in the chat so that you can read them at a different time. They're out there. All you have to do is Google them and you will find them and download them. So the first one is digital transformation and automation. With increased automation and the rise of artificial intelligence. And guess what? Artificial intelligence has always been with us. If you have Siri on your phone, or you use the Google Voice, or even Alexa in your home, that's artificial intelligence. And so with the rise of AI, it's reshaping job markets, leading to the displacement of just basic routine tasks. So whereas, depending on the generation you're in, you might have asked your assistant or your secretary or administrative assistant to set an appointment for you or call Joe down the hall. Now you can just ask AI to do it and place that appointment on your calendar and it's done. So here's the skill gap. There's a growing demand for digital literacy, programming, and data analysis skills. So that's an upskilling area, whereas, you might have handled simple tasks of scheduling or taking notes and so forth. But now, as we continue to move in this trend of digital transformation and automation, you may need to upskill so that you remain relevant and that you can grow during these times. The green economy. Now, the green economy, and this is data from International Labor Organization, Skills for Green Jobs. Here's the trend. There's a shift towards sustainability. Sustainability is creating new job opportunities in renewable energy, energy efficiency, and environmental management. So here's the skill gap. There's a need for skills in green technologies, sustainable practices, and environmental impact assessment. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, wow, I've not really kept up with my skills in technology, but maybe I can learn a little bit more about the green economy and how I can develop or upskill my skills there. Now, I'm going to tell you, here we are, 2024. There's not much you can do without technology. So if you're listening to us today, if you're participating in this pop-up today, it's not too late to develop and explore your skills around technology. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's here to stay. And you can't break it. You can't break it. So I would definitely urge you to do that, because it's a huge, it's a trend and it's a skill gap. Actually, the leading one is technology. The third skill gap is remote work and flexible working arrangements. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the adoption of remote work. There are companies that said, we will never go remote. And COVID-19 changed that for a lot of companies, requiring new skills for virtual collaboration and time management and just how to even lead a virtual team. So here are the skills gaps. Soft skill communication. Soft skills is something that will never go out of style. We've got to know how to talk to people and how to communicate. Self-discipline. Digital collaboration tools like Zoom and so many other tools that are out there today are increasingly important. How and where do you need to close the gap on that area if it's a gap for you? I think this is the fourth one. The fourth gap is lifelong learning and continuous education. Within your organization, and as I go in and out of companies and we're talking about just training and development, I really want companies to develop a culture of lifelong learning. When you're doing your annual reviews, scheduling, talking to your colleagues about workshops they can attend, training they can attend, books they can read, so that they're continuing to grow and develop themselves. Now, I'll tell you, it's great if your organization will do that, but it's even better when you take it on yourself and you say, I want to develop myself for whatever is coming down the pike, and not necessarily depend on my job. But if my job will provide it, then that's great. But if not, I'm going to continue to develop and learn all the things that I can learn in my occupation and beyond that. Or even what I tell a lot of the young people today, people younger than me, is learn about your job, but also learn about the job you want to be in. So if you come in and you are at one level and you're interested in management, read and take management type workshops and trainings, read books on it, understand about leadership, take on more responsibility. And so, again, these are gaps. And if you can close those gaps, it's going to be better for the workforce. And then there's healthcare and social care. So if you're in the healthcare arena, the trend is the aging population and the increasing importance of mental health and wellness, and how they're driving the demand for healthcare and social care professionals. And so many workplaces are looking at, are we psychologically safe? Or a lot of staff within the organizations are asking, is this a psychologically safe workforce? Taking mental health days, really talking about embracing mental health within the workplace, where it's a time where we just really didn't talk about it. And now we're talking about it everywhere. And so here's the skill gap. Skills in patient care, healthcare management, and telemedicine are in high demand. If you have a organization that has a EAP program, more employees are using those now more than ever. And so one of the things that you can do as a manager and leader within your organization is creating an environment that is safe, that's psychologically safe. And if you're like, I don't know how to do that, Dr. Lowe, go and listen to our podcast, Results Driven Organizations podcast. I can't remember the episode, but there's an episode where we talk about how to create a psychologically safe work environment, but also how to their worksheets, downloadable worksheets and things that you can use and check sheets to help you do that. So you're probably thinking, what does that have to do with the skills gap in healthcare and social care? Well, again, the skill gaps are very relevant because mental health and social health is growing, and so we're going to need more people in the industry to understand how to work with people when they show up. And we're also going to need employers to understand, how do we make our workplace a safer workplace for everyone. So, and then there's cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is definitely on the rise. With the rise of digital platforms and the increase of cyber threats every single day, if you've got the oh my God, what is it called? If you've got the stuff on your computer that lets you know there's a threat, don't open this. We removed 50,000 threats overnight while you sleep. Cyber security is a huge issue. It's not going anywhere because as we grow we have these advances in technology. Of course, the cyber bullies are going to be out there as well. So there's a need for robust cybersecurity measures. So here's the skill gap. There's a shortage of skilled professionals in cybersecurity, risk management, and information security. So if you're thinking about, where do I upskill and reskill, pay attention to these trends that I went through rather quickly. You may want to go back and listen to the replay. But take a look at these trends and look at how can you close the gap as an organization, and how can you close the gap maybe as an individual. So we've talked about the trends, we've talked about why we're having this conversation. So let's look at the impact of automation and digital transformation on job roles. We think about AI. Over the past decade, we've witnessed a significant increase in automation and AI integration across all industries. So routine tasks like data entry, basic customer service inquiries, all of that is done by like chatbots now. Even some aspects of manufacturing are being automated. AI-driven processes are not just improving efficiency, but also enhancing the accuracy and consistency of operations. I remember, I think it was last year was 2022, maybe the end of 2022, going into 2023. I read an article about Chipotle in California. They were looking at um, changing their cooks in the kitchen from humans to robots to minimize the impact of cross-contamination. So evidently Chipotle has been having a lot of problems with cross-contamination in the kitchen and a lot of issues around that. So moving toward automating the process. I know I don't want to be replaced by a robot. What about you? So really getting familiar with AI. And I know there's a lot of different thoughts and ideas about AI, but here's the thing, it's not going anywhere, folks. So learn as much as you can about AI. And then shifting job roles as automation takes over repetitive tasks, there's a notable shift in the job market. So there's an increasing demand for roles that require tech proficiency, um, data analysis, cybersecurity. We've all talked about that. And conversely, roles that heavily rely on manual or repetitive work are declining. Yeah, I come to bear this news. So again, how do you juggle that? How do you upskill and reskill your team, your department, yourself as an individual when the job you've been doing for 5, 10, 15 years could be phasing out? Well, we're going to talk about that. And then the final impact is critical thinking. Critical thinking as a key skill, regardless of the trend, regardless of how you choose to gain more skills, critical thinking becomes a crucial skill regardless of the industry. Employees have to be able to solve complex problems, make strategic decisions, and interpret data effectively. I was doing a podcast interview with someone, and as we were in the middle of the interview, they put me on hold, and they came back, and they were holding their head in their hands. And they said, "Dr. Lowe, you're not going to believe this." And I was like, "What? Tell me, tell me." And they said, "I just had a staff person call me to ask me if it was okay if someone sat at an empty desk." And I was like, "Well, what was it? Is it someone's desk?" "No, it's not. It's no one's desk." But they couldn't make the decision on their own, so they had to call me. If that doesn't show you that critical thinking is is really relevant and really important today, I don't know what is. Critical thinking enables employees to leverage AI, automative tools, make basic everyday decisions. Some decisions that they can just make on a whim, and some that may require a little more thought. So as data becomes a critical asset, the ability to analyze and derive insights from data is going to differentiate successful professionals from the rest. I hope that you decide to say, "You know what, I'm going to be successful as the world of work continues to change and move and grow, and leverage what I know with improving my skills." So let's take a quick look at what are the fundamentals of critical thinking. I know we're moving kind of fast. Many of you are probably on your lunch break. If you have to slip out, it's okay. This will remain here on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever you're listening, or decide to go back and listen. It'll be here. You can go back, you can take notes, and then there's something at the end we're going to share with you. I hope you're having some insight, some aha moments as we're having this one-way conversation today. So I want to talk about some of the fundamentals of critical thinking. Again, critical thinking is the ability to um, examine ideas, look at information and debates in a systemic and rational way. And sometimes it involves really just being curious and asking questions. That's what I like to think about. Critical thinking is asking more questions, being more curious, coming up with multiple perspectives, and drawing the best conclusion based on the evidence. So that's my definition of critical thinking. So when we look at um, analyzing information, for example, you may be in a business setting and you're considering a market analysis. You're looking at trends and you're looking at all of the data points and you're trying to come up with the best solution for your next steps, moving in your next steps. And so critical thinking is a key factor that will help you to investigate various factors, look at the market conditions, look at your competition, and your internal pros and cons or internal challenges. For many people who've been in an organization for a long time, you can probably do this in your sleep. But if you're new in an organization, you're just graduating from college, you're a new hire, maybe you've been an independent contributor, even as an independent contributor, it would still value you to be able to think critically and add to the discussion and add feedback. So that's what some examples for analyzing information objectively. And then evaluating arguments. When we're looking at evaluating arguments, you want to make sure that you're assessing the validity of the claims, the evidence, the reasoning. And it definitely requires you to be unbiased and to be able to not only have a strong argument for what you are presenting, but also being able to listen to other arguments and maybe not necessarily be so sold out on my way is the only way. And when I say argument, I don't mean like, people are in the workplace and they're, having these crazy fist fight arguments, but debates. Debate is probably a better word. You're being able to evaluate the debate to come up with what is logical and going to really help the organization overall. And then finally, when you use the skills of critical thinking, you're able to draw conclusions based on careful analysis, careful evaluation. For example, if you're a manager deciding to launch a product, you must make a reasoned judgment by looking at market research, maybe looking at the projections, competitive analysis, what are your competitors doing? And you have to weigh in all of these things, the risk, the benefits, the cost, all of these things upfront in order to justify the long-term potential of the investment. So those are just some top of my head examples. But as you look at the three areas of critical thinking, you want to make sure that you're putting the time and the thought and the effort into it. So why is this important for me to know in my line of work? Well, it improves your decision making. It enhances problem solving. There's not an organization that I've been in that does not have a problem that needs to be solved. It fosters innovation with the being curious and asking more questions. It increases efficiency and it reduces errors. When we are really taking the time to follow a process for coming up with how decisions are made, it indeed reduces errors. Critical thinking is crucial in the workplace because it's going to make everything better. Uh-oh. Okay. So when we think about what makes things better, I want you to take a look at this slide. And if you've ever said any of these things, then you need to work on either you need to work on developing more people who can think critically, or if this has ever been said about you, then you need to develop your critical thinking skills. I have to micromanage every task. Have you ever said that? Their poor choices lead to frequent mistakes. Do you have people on your team? Do you feel that way about people on your team? And then the one that I hear time and time again, I can't trust them. I can't trust them to handle critical tasks. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem. That is the big red flag for the need for critical thinking development. I just want you to know that. And so if you've ever said any of these things, put in the chat that I've said that. You can put a 1 in the chat if you've said it, a 2 in the chat if you said more than one, and a 3 in the chat if you've said a combination of all of them. So these alone should definitely get you on board for developing, thinking about upskilling and reskilling in the area of critical thinking first and foremost. So what are some of the benefits to the organization? We've already talked about some of them. It gives you a competitive advantage. It makes you more adaptable to change. The more people you have in an organization who can think critically, who can analyze information, I call it strategic brilliance, because they can take a problem, they can pull it apart and come back with the best pieces of it. It's like your best kept secret. You're gonna have better team collaboration because you're not gonna have people sitting on the bench saying, well, I don't know, what do you think? What do you think? Well, I don't know. You know those people? Hopefully you're not one of those people. You're gonna have better team collaboration where people feel like, and this is where the psychological safety comes in, where people can come in and they can throw all the ideas out and they're not poo-pooed for adding their contribution. And then, there's a facilitator or someone like myself who can come in and help take all those pieces and lead an organization to better decision making. It improves leadership. In order to be a leader, a strong leader with critical thinking skills, you typically have to start out as a manager and or an independent contributor, and or whatever the stairs are in your organization. And so it doesn't matter. I tell folks, if you're visiting with us today, don't wait until you're in leadership to learn how to think critically. Start thinking now. Start thinking now. I promise you, it will benefit you. Organizations that foster critical thinking gain all of these benefits. It leads to better teamwork. It leads to enhanced customer satisfaction, all of these things. If you want these things in your organization, put a 3. Let's see, are we done? Yeah, put a 4 in the chat. Put a 4 in the chat if you want these things in your organization. And if you know that we have some work to do. So we've looked at the trends, we've looked at why it's needed, we've looked at the definition. Now let's look at some of the insights from the World Economic Forum. So I think most of these I've already gone through, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them. But critical think, here it is, critical thinking and analysis leading the list. The importance of evaluating information, making informed decision, has a key role in fostering innovation and improving business processes. I can't say that enough. That's what today's talk is about. It's about critical thinking. So of course, this is leading the list. And then there's complex problem solving, navigating ambiguity and uncertainty in the work environments is key. And so having someone who can do that, or having a team of people, no longer just putting all of the major skills on one or two people. But can you imagine if you have an organization where everybody can think critically at different levels, and they're creative and they're innovative and they operate in emotional intelligence and they're strong in tech skills? I mean, that's the organization that I want to come in and do a study with them, right? So emotional intelligence, we talked about how soft skills they're not going away. And so my team and we all have been trained. We've always used emotional intelligence in working with our clients, but we've all gotten certified as emotional intelligence coaches so that we can go in and coach our clients better using emotional intelligence and educating them on emotional intelligence. So these are the most important skills, the top 5 of the future. And then I think I've got 5 more. Here we go. Cognitive flexibility. Wow, to be able to switch between thinking about 2 different concepts, adapting and changing environments and job roles, thinking differently outside of the box. That's cognitive flexibility. Some of us are so stuck in how we operate in our jobs today because this is what I hear. I've been doing this job for 15, 20 years. I know what to do. These young people coming in, they don't know. I know more than them, blah, blah, blah. And all of that, it slows the organization down. So we have to be able to move outside of where we are. I have to stop blocking me. So that's what I want you to put in the chat. I must stop blocking me and my team. I am cognitively flexible. I mean, I'm going to coin the phrase cognitive yoga, right? And so where we're not getting bogged down and that we're able to switch between concepts and really make a difference. That's a key skill for the future workforce. And then of course, judgment and decision making, problem solving, critical thinking, they're all there together. Being able to not have to call your supervisor and say, is it okay for someone to sit at this desk that no one is occupying? So people management and leadership, collaboration and teamwork, service orientation, these are the most important skills for the future workforce. I want you to think about it for a second. Where does my team need to improve between this list of, I think it's 10? Where does my team need to improve? And as a leader or manager in the organization, how do I best help them to improve? Whether it's people management and leadership, if it's how to be a stronger, better team, how do I leverage collective expertise to achieve common goals? Many leaders have no clue of how to leverage all of the ideas within a team to help that team make a decision or to reach the goal collaboratively. And I'll share a vulnerable moment with you. I had no idea. I had to learn it because I came from a generation where you did it all and the team just did what you told them to do. But we're in a different time now. We've not been in that time for a long time. And so again, remember I said there are different generations in the workforce. And so going back to cognitive flexibility, if you're from a generation where do as you're told, you're going to stifle your team. You're going to stifle the organization. So we all have some things that we can learn when it comes to preparing, when it comes to upskilling and reskilling for the future workforce. Woo! So I hope this has been really good for you. I've got some final thoughts, and I want to invite you to something that we've got coming up. So in today's evolving business landscape, when we think about critical thinking skills, they have emerged as an indispensable asset for all employees across all industries. And I'll say that critical thinking is something that's always been there, but I think with technology, we've put ourselves in a position where we have forgotten how to think, or we're not thinking in a way that we used to think. And so with the advent of automation and digital transformation, reshaping jobs and emphasizing the need for higher order cognitive abilities over routine tasks, when we think about critical thinking, it empowers employees to analyze these complex problems, to be able to make um, informed decisions, which are essential. They're very essential in an environment where change is constant and unpredictable. We are so far away from where we were 4 years ago. The pandemic, I like to think the pandemic changed everything, but actually, ladies and gentlemen, these changes started way before the pandemic. The pandemic just really put a strong floodlight on them. So critical thinking, as you think about upskilling and reskilling and you shine the light on critical thinking, you're looking at more innovation within your organization. Um, Employees who can think critically are just better equipped to handle what's coming down the pike. They are better equipped to interpret and leverage data. We hadn't talked a whole lot about data, but within this whole conversation, it's all about data. Just as you're asking more questions, as you're being more curious, you're collecting data. I might not have used that term, but that's what it is. It's data. And so critical thinking is not, it not only enhances individual performance, but it also contributes to the overall competitiveness, agility, and adaptability of your organization. Critical thinking plays a vital role in leadership and strategic decision making. Leaders who possess strong critical thinking abilities are capable of navigating uncertainty, evaluating diverse perspectives. Remember, told you, 5 generations in the workforce, in making sound decisions that align with long-term business objectives. When we think about the competency of critical thinking, this competency is essential for guiding teams through complex challenges and fostering a culture of resilience and agility. As the workforce continues to transform, critical thinking remains a cornerstone skill. And what happens is as a cornerstone skill, it enables employees to thrive in dynamic and complex environments. With that being said, and understanding the importance of critical thinking, my team and I we created a training. We created a training to help organizations upskill their employees. And it's called Strategic Brilliance, the Art of Critical Thinking. This is a virtual training and it will take place on July 17th. And we hope you join us. So I'm going to play this, I'm going to share this video with you. And if you're interested in joining us on July 17th, the link for more information about the training will be at the top of the video. So here we go.
Hello. Today I want to talk to you about something that can truly transform your career: critical thinking. In this ever-changing business landscape, those who thrive are not just those who work hard, but those who think differently. That's why I'm thrilled to introduce Unlocking Strategic Brilliance, the Art of Critical Thinking. This isn't just a training program, it's a career game changer. Why should you or your team enroll? Well, the world is full of complex challenges and unpredictable changes. Critical thinking arms you with the ability to navigate these challenges, fostering innovation and enabling you to make informed decisions that stand out. Imagine being able to dissect problems efficiently, consider diverse perspectives, and apply strategic thinking to real world scenarios. That's what we aim for in this training. It's not merely an investment in new skills, it's an investment in your future. As technology catapults forward and the very fabric of our business environments evolve, staying updated with crucial skills is more important than ever. Critical thinking is at the heart of innovation and leadership. By mastering this, you not only prepare yourself, but also lead your team confidently into the future. So, what does this training cover? We dive deep into identifying problems, analyzing information from various angles, and crafting strategic solutions that are not only effective, but also innovative. You'll learn to trust your judgment and enhance your decision making process, equipping you with the confidence to tackle any challenge that comes your way. And let's talk about the ripple effect. By enhancing your critical thinking skills, you influence your surroundings. You become a leader who inspires, who challenges the status quo, and who drives progress. You become the catalyst for your teams and your organization's success. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Equip yourself and your team with the tools to not just survive, but to thrive and lead with assurance in this competitive world. Register today for Unlocking Strategic Brilliance, the art of critical thinking, and secure not just a job, but a successful career and a promising future. Remember, in a world that's constantly changing, the most powerful tool you can possess is your mind. Sharpen it. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing how you'll transform your career with the art of critical thinking.
All right. Well, we have come to the end of another exciting executive forum pop-up edition. So what happens next? You can schedule an encore presentation of this presentation for your organization. You can schedule a capabilities call where we will sit down and talk about your needs within your organization, or you can register for Strategic Brilliance, the art of critical thinking. And as always, if you have any questions, you can reach us by scanning this QR code, and we love to get you scheduled for whatever your needs are calling for at this time. Thank you for joining us today. I'm gonna flip back over to the registration. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you at the next executive forum. And hopefully we'll see you next month for our critical thinking training. Thanks. Bye-bye.